Hello and welcome back. So today we've got a box from GT55. GT55 are probably the biggest micro and mini drift dealer about. They do the whole range. They do from the cars all the way through to the electronics and body shells. So like it's become a one-stop shop. Now I have cut the tape on their box ready because their packing is unbelievable. And I just noticed that they have actually got printed boxes now, which is a new thing from GT55. Anyway, let's have a look in the box. So we've got some driftart parts. These were released at the end of last year when they launched the driftart 4. So these are some hop-up parts for the driftart. Excuse the paper sound, rustling sound. So we'll get that off to one side. So in here we have some new dog bones. And just to show you the cost of these, I mean, these are tiny, so you can see against my finger how small that screw is. Just to give you the prices of these, so you can sort of see how much it all of a sudden adds up. The dog bones were, I'm going to round it up a little bit, so $12 for the dog bones. Then we've got some new rear axles. I probably didn't need to replace these, to be honest, on my car, but they are the new rear axles with a metal ring instead of a rubber ring round the pin. These were $7. Then we have, and this is a bit of a controversial, not controversial, but a bit of a love-hate thing that I've been seeing on the groups. This is the brake disc simulation, so it's like the brake disc to make it look like it's got brake discs in. They don't actually do anything, obviously. And these are a little bit expensive. We're getting up in price a little bit. So these are $23 for those. And then last but not least, and this is the main thing that I ordered for, and I have to read it. This is the Super Dove Ball Diff. So you can see it in there. We'll open it in a second. And this was $45. So in total for those 4 bags is $88.17. So what this replaces on my car, and I'm going to swing my car in above it. So basically it replaces the rear dog bones, which are down there on the car. The rear diff, which is this is the original one, so this is a plastic diff still in this one. It's a driftart 3, and then the axle that goes through the wheel. And then we're going to, because I've got these open wheels now, we're going to try and put the brake discs in. But we'll just open up the diff, because this is the factory assembled version. So you can get this in 2 versions. You can get it in the one that you build yourself, and the pre-assembled version from driftart, which this one is. So you've got some, I think it's got all the spare bits that they haven't used in the assembled kit. So we've got some files, which are really nice files actually for doing other bits and bobs. Then we've got some spare shims. Then I'm not 100% sure what that is. Got a spare screw. Look how tiny that one is. And a grub screw and an Allen key. That's obviously for doing some repairs a little bit later on, potential repairs or adjustments. And then this is the diff itself. This is like $45, as we were saying, for the diff. Both driftart and GT55 pack their stuff immaculately. So this is the ball diff. Now normally in most drift cars, it's a solid diff. So it drives both wheels at the same time. There's no one wheel spinning without the other. So they did it on the DA2, but they haven't launched one of these until the end of last year. It sort of disappeared for a bit. But this is the adjustable on the fly ball diff for the driftart. And what you do is you basically put a very small Allen key in a very small hole somewhere there, you can see that, and then you can adjust the tension either plus or minus. So as you can see, this stuff is really small. So what we do is we go away, we fit it to the car and come back and have a look.
Several days later.
So we're back. It took a little bit longer than anticipated. While I was doing it, I did a full service. And to get to the gearbox, if you've bought your driftart 4, you'd have got it pre-assembled. So to get to the gearbox, it's motor off, suspension off, each corner off to get to so you can take the gearbox out and work on the gearbox. So it's quite a lengthy process and fiddly process. So what did we change? We changed the dog bones, which are tucked away down in there. I probably can't get that much of a view of them with the gearbox in the way. Maybe the other side's due. That's better. So we changed the dog bone. Reminds me of a driftart 2 at some point. I'm sure it had a very similar adjustable dog bone like that at some point. It has got the world's smallest screw in the end that you have to put in this end. That's fixes the dog part of the bone into it. Then we changed the diff. Relatively easy. I did make a couple of mistakes personally, like with just tightness of things when I put that in originally. So I've had to do it a couple of times. You can see it there. That it's one that when you turn one wheel, the other turns in the other way, which didn't happen immediately. So I've had to play around with it a little bit. So how you adjust it, and I've got to do it the right way around for me. It's got a little hole, so you can just see that there. So you put the supplied Allen key into that, and then you turn the wheel. So anti-clockwise is to tighten the diff, and clockwise with the diff this way around is to loosen the diff. Now that has taken me ages to set that, so I won't play about with it too much. So I've got it nice and free, left to right, right to left, and also free when it's being driven. That was a bit tricky to balance because if it's too loose, it's basically trying to straighten itself up all the time. Too tight and you've basically got a locked diff. But when you lock the diff, it's really, really tight forward, like when it's being driven. So you need it free, so it's all nice and loose, but tight enough so that it drives nicely as well. So it was a little bit of a balancing act and took me a little bit of a while to get that sorted. Brake discs, I think they look really cool. It's a fixed caliper and it has got a little disc that runs through it that you bolt, or you don't bolt it, you put on the axle, and it spins freely with the wheel when you tighten the wheel up. It is a little bit tricky because you have to get the caliper, level in both directions, like vertical and horizontal, so that the disc runs through it nicely. But that's cool. There's no performance going to that. But it's just a cool little thing with the open wheels that we've got on at the moment. So I think that wraps it up. As always, we'll finish off with a bit of drifting. Do come back because we've got some very exciting boxes coming up in the next couple of weeks. So do keep tuned. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.